I said take the portal to the Arena of the Ages, not the bucket, you idiots! Oh, hi there, and welcome to part 16 of Chrono Trigger. Today we are going to be taking a little detour to do some side stuff, and that would be the Arena of the Ages. Now, the Arena of the Ages was added in the Nintendo DS version of the game, and it's pretty much completely optional. A lot of this video is going to be purely informational. There's not going to be a lot of action in this part, and this isn't relevant to the main game. However, if you're interested in completing the game to the fullest, you have to do it. So I'm just going to be going over it if you're interested. It's completely optional, as I've said. And you can access it from two places. One, the end of time. Or two, you can also access it through the main menu when you boot up the game. Anyways, as you enter, you're going to be greeted by a man. And he's going to be like, welcome to the Arena of the Ages! Yay! We battle with monsters. So, basically, Pokemon without the Pokeballs. That's pretty much what this place is like, except you don't give the Pokemon commands either, so maybe that isn't the best analysis. Anyways, ask him for a rundown of the place if you aren't familiar with this place. Basically, this is a monster stables. You raise monsters here, and you train them, and then you fight with them, and then you pin them against each other and try to win some cool prizes and stuff. And you spend a lot of money in the process. That guy over in the top right is where you go to battle. The blue new is a shopkeeper, and this guy is used for all your information regarding training your monster. So, he's also going to mention some important stuff regarding saving. This place is a completely different dimension, you could say. So basically, it's completely irrelevant to everything that goes on in the normal timeline. So you can save over at the right, and that will save your game. And then there's also the option, if you come here through the main menu, and you save here, then your progress that you did here will be saved and it'll be attached to wherever you left off on your main file. It's really confusing, and honestly, what I said probably makes no sense. It doesn't really make sense to me either, but just know that if you save, your progress is saved. Anyways, are you ready to train yourself a monster? If so, talk to the stable master, and he is going to give you the option of 4 smidges: fire, water, light, and shadow affinity. So take your pick, whatever affinity you like. Feel free to take your pick. Aren't they cute? Not really, but they're smidges. So pick up your smidge and prepare to raise it. So, the guy's going to go into a little bit more detail about how to train your monster and other miscellaneous stuff. The first thing he's going to do is give you a little gift, and it's going to be a Monster Trainer's Starter Kit, and it's going to contain 8 items. I'll go over these items in a second. So, raising your monster. You give it an item, you send it to a specific time era to train, and it'll get stronger and stuff and things. Basically, that's how you train your monster. After training your monster, stuff will happen, and he's basically going to show you your monster, and basically you'll notice that your smidge will have stats that are the same as basically all the main heroes of the game, with the exception of one new stat: trust. Trust works in a fashion that basically when you use an item in battle, your smidge has to actually decide to use it. If your trust stat is low, it may not use the item that you tell it to use. It's kind of like in Pokemon, how if your Pokemon is traded and it doesn't like you, it won't use specific attack commands. It's basically the same concept. I've also found that trust helps with changing your monster's tier. I'll get to that in a little bit. Anyways, let's take a look around for a bit. The first thing I want to go over is the Shopkeeper. There are 8 items that you can buy here. Slops, Flamecall, Seafang, Duskeye, Luxwing, Hawktalon, Shield Cloak, and Feral Wrath. Now each of these 8 items has 2 effects. The first effect is an in-combat effect. You give it to your monster and it uses to have an effect of some sort. The second effect that it has is a training effect. So when you send it to an area to train, it will have some sort of effect on training. Now, Slops helps with hit points. The next 4 items deal with helping your monster use attack in combat. The Hawktalon boost attack, the Shield Cloak boost defense, and the Feral Wrath boost your critical hit damage. And then it also has more effects when you send it off to train. So items cost money, you're going to have to buy them, you're going to have to use them in order to train your smidge effectively. The next thing I'm going to go over is training your monster. Now when you train a monster, you're going to pick an item, and then you are going to pick an era, and then you're going to send it off to train. Slops boost your max hit points. The next 4 items deal with helping teach your smidge a tech. Now your smidge can learn multiple types of techs, and if your smidge uses a tech that matches its affinity, it'll be stronger. If you use a tech that matches your enemy's affinity, it will be weaker. And then you can also boost your offense, your defense, and the odds of a class change occurring. Now when you send your smidge off to train, a few different effects can happen. 1, its stats can be raised. 2, its stats can be lowered. Some stats can be lowered when you train. 3, it can bring back an item. 4, and probably the most important of them all, is it can change classes. Now when a class change occurs, it's basically a monster's way of... I'm going back to the Pokemon reference because I feel like it's the most easy to associate with. It basically evolves when it class changes. So when it evolves into a higher class level, it'll get stronger in terms of stats, and it will change appearance as well. So pick an item when you're ready to train it, and then send it to an era. Now there are 5 different eras you can send it to train, which are associated with the 5 main eras of the game. At this point in time, you probably haven't visited 2 of them, so you can't access them yet. And the different eras also have different types of effects in terms of training. So whenever your smidge is ready to train, he will go into a random gate that appears out of thin air, and off he goes. So yay! Now it takes a smidge 10 minutes to train in real time. So after those 10 minutes occur, it'll come back. Now you have to leave the Arena of Ages if it's going to come back. If you sit here for 10 minutes, it's never going to return. So leave, re-enter, and your smidge will be back. And then the last thing we can talk about is actually battling. Okay, I took a moment to switch to a different profile. This is my account that has like everything at level 99, and it also has my amazing super monster smidge. And I'm going to use this to help explain combat a little bit. So basically, when you train your smidge, it'll get stronger, it'll level up, it'll get stronger, blah blah blah, and you're going to want to train it. Now the trust stat is the only way to raise your trust stat is through fighting and battles. Now your trust stat will also lower from extensive training. So whenever you're ready, you can go fight a battle. Now you have 2 options. You can fight the AI, or this is Chrono Trigger's way of putting something multiplayer in, basically. You can fight through Wi-Fi to fight other trainers, other smidge trainers, or whatever you want to call them. So it's just a neat little way of bringing multiplayer into the game. And then if you do fight an AI, which is probably what you're going to be doing, you can choose a tier. Now different tiers have different strength monsters. Different tiers yield different prizes as well. Now the stronger your monster is, the higher up tiers you can fight. I also believe to get tier 6, your party leader needs to be level 38. I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's what I've read somewhere. So in other words, to get access to the higher tiers, you're going to have to get stronger. And then when you're ready to battle, we can fight. So, fighting is actually really straightforward. Basically, you sit and you watch your monster battle. There's not that much to be said about fighting. You sit and watch it fight. Now, you can assist your monster with any sort of item that you want to help it out with. So if you want to restore some health, use some slops. Generally speaking though, if you train your monster well, you probably won't even really need to use items. So basically you just watch your monster fight, and that's about it. Now you have to spend money to use to fight a monster, and the other thing is when you do fight, you can earn a prize after you win the battle. Now, the prizes you can earn here are actually really good if you get the higher tiers. So you can get access to items that you should probably not have access to at this point in the game. In a lot of ways, it's actually a little bit broken, because you can get some really solid items way before you're supposed to. Like, if I sat and trained my monster to really high levels, I could get a haste helm, which basically auto hastes your enemy, and these are like things that you shouldn't have access to early in the game at the point that we're currently at in the walkthrough. So just keep that in mind, that you can get some really good prizes, or you could get some really lousy items. You could get like a mop, which a mop does basically no damage. Now there are 6 items that you can only get through the Arena of the Ages. If you are a completionist, somebody who wants to complete a game to its fullest extent and 100% the game, this will be the most awful and evil of all things in Chrono Trigger to 100%. There are 6 items. These 6 items are a new arcana and 5 different types of mirrors. And to make matters worse, you can only get them through fighting bosses in the arena. Now, every 5 to 7-ish battles, when you fight in the arena, a boss battle will appear. And the boss will be a little bit more strong than the other enemies. It'll be a cut above the normal enemies that you fight. They honestly aren't that much worse if you trained your monsters well. But you have to fight the bosses in order to get these items. And unfortunately, you can still get all the normal items along with the boss items. So the odds of getting these items after fighting a boss are still really, really, really low. Like 1 in, I think, maybe up to about 20 to 30 different items. Not to mention you have to fight many, many, many battles to get these. Now these items, basically, the mirrors allow you to counterattack, and the new arcana has a chance of reducing your opponent's health to 1 hit point. The counterattacks happen 25% of the time under most circumstances, except for certain attacks. For instance, the Uranian mirror doesn't counter if you get hit by a light attack, but anything that isn't light, it has a 25% chance of countering. So they're not bad items, but is it worth going out of your way to get these items? Absolutely not, unless you're trying to 100% the game. So these items are going to be the downfall of 100%ing the game. Now, I fought, as you can see here, I fought 193 battles to get these 6 items, but I actually fought more. There is a little trick that you can use. After every battle you could fight, you could save and then fight the next battle. And once you finally get a boss fight to appear, you could keep soft resetting the game and basically power off, power on. And you should keep fighting the boss fight, and the item that it will reward you with should be different every time you fight the boss. So I probably ended up fighting like 500 to 600 fights. It probably took me about a week of leaving my DS on fighting monsters to get these items. It's incredibly time consuming and really irritating. If you're going to do this and you want to 100% the game, I recommend that you like watch TV while you do this or something, because it's really irritating. So that's pretty much the Arena of the Ages for you. It was meant to be a way of having fun with your friends. It was meant to be a multiplayer little thing and add something new to the DS version of the game. But let's be honest, this was probably not that great of an idea at the end of the day. Feel free to check it out if you want. If you're a completionist, sorry, have fun getting those mirrors. If not, we will return to normal events next time. So that wraps up this part. Thanks for watching. Next time we will be heading off to the Medina village in 1000 AD. Thank you, and good night.